Welcome to The Explainer. It's November 16th, and we're here to break down all the crucial headlines you need for your UPSC preparation. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We've got 5 key areas, and you'll notice they map directly onto your general studies papers. We'll go from polity all the way to international relations, making it super easy for you to connect the dots.
All right, first up, polity and governance. We're tracking some major developments today that really get to the heart of our constitutional framework, the federal structure, and our electoral machinery.
So we're kicking things off with a huge constitutional showdown. Tamil Nadu is taking its fight against the NEET exam all the way to the Supreme Court. The core of their argument, that the president's refusal to sign their bill, which would exempt the state from the exam, is unconstitutional. I mean, this is a classic test of federalism, right? It pits state legislative power directly against a central policy, and it brings up some heavy-hitting constitutional questions on things like the president's assent powers under Article 201 and the state's duty to public health under Article 47. Definitely a landmark case to watch for your polity syllabus.
Now, this is interesting. The same exact process, the special intensive revision of electoral rolls, is causing major friction, but in 2 totally different ways. Over in Kerala, you've got political parties ready to sue the Election Commission, arguing the timeline is just completely impractical before local polls. But in West Bengal, it's the folks on the ground, the booth-level officers who are protesting, saying the workload is just unmanageable. It's a perfect example of the complex, multi-layered challenges of running massive electoral exercises in India. And you know, when you dig into what's causing all this friction, it really boils down to one key governance issue: a lack of clarity. The Election Commission did this whole pre-mapping thing to try and streamline the process, but now there's just widespread confusion about how that pre-existing data is supposed to be used, and that's leading to a lot of extra work and frustration for everyone involved.
Okay, let's quickly round out the political scene with a few other key updates. In Bihar, the process of forming a new government is officially underway after the NDA's big win. Over in Mumbai, the Congress Party has announced it's going solo in the next civic polls. And in Uttar Pradesh, the state government is seeking to withdraw the case related to the 2015 Dadri lynching incident.
Okay, shifting gears now to economy and infrastructure. We've got 2 really big stories for you here: an incredible corporate comeback story and a massive flood of investment into one state.
This is a story of a corporate phoenix rising from the ashes. Mafatal Industries, a 120-year-old textile giant, was basically on the brink of collapse. It was declared a sick unit back in 2000. But look at it now. It just posted a profit of nearly 100 crore rupees on revenues of 2,800 crore. Just an amazing case study in business revival.
So, the big question is, how on earth did they do it? Well, this quote from the new MD pretty much says it all. Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, they got laser-focused on their core strength, the B2B uniform market. You combine that sharp focus with professionalizing management and really embracing digital tech, and voila, that's the recipe for their incredible comeback.
Now, get ready for this number. Just look at it. That isn't a company's revenue. That's the absolutely staggering amount of investment that Andhra Pradesh just secured at the CII Partnership Summit. We're talking over 13 lakh crore rupees. It's just massive.
So where's all that cash going? As you can see, the energy sector is the clear heavyweight here, pulling in over 40% of the total investment. This signals a huge strategic push by Andhra Pradesh to become a major player in the energy game. Of course, there are also some very significant investments flowing into industries and infrastructure as well.
All right, let's move on to internal security and defense. We're tracking 2 major stories here: the widening probe into the Delhi blast and a pretty scary new threat to our aviation safety.
The investigation into that recent Delhi blast is expanding, and it's expanding fast. The latest is that 3 more people have been detained, 2 of them doctors, and criminal cases have been filed against a university. What's starting to emerge is a picture of a well-funded, well-organized white-collar terror module. They apparently pooled a significant amount of money to buy explosives, including common fertilizer.
And now for a completely different kind of threat: GNSS spoofing. This is a super important concept for you guys in science and tech. It's really different from jamming, which just blocks the GPS signal. No, spoofing is way more sinister. It actively feeds a receiver false information. It basically lies to a system, tricking it into thinking it's somewhere it isn't, and that can be incredibly dangerous.
So why is this such a major threat to aviation? Well, the answer is pretty simple, and honestly, it's terrifying. Modern aircraft depend completely on accurate satellite navigation. So if a plane systems start getting fed fake location data over a crowded airspace like Delhi, well, the potential for a catastrophic incident is just immense.
Given how dangerous this is, the official response has been swift and multi-layered. The DGCA has tightened protocols, making it mandatory for pilots and air traffic controllers to report any suspected spoofing incident immediately. And at the highest level, the National Security Council Secretariat itself has launched a probe to find the source of these malicious signals. It just goes to show how seriously this new kind of threat is being taken.
Let's move on to our next section, environment and sci-tech. Today, we're going to take a hard look at Delhi's public health crisis and how the government is trying to respond.
Look, Delhi's air pollution crisis is a story that unfortunately needs no introduction. But what's really hitting home now is the tangible impact this is having, not just on the environment, but on public health and the daily livelihoods of its citizens. It's moved way beyond an environmental issue. This is a full-blown socio-economic crisis.
And if you want to understand the real human cost of this crisis, just listen to this quote from Ashok Kumar, a bike taxi driver. He was diagnosed with a chronic illness from breathing the toxic air he's forced to work in every single day. His words just perfectly capture the desperation of millions of outdoor workers who have absolutely no escape.
So what's the plan? Well, the government is trying a multi-pronged attack. You've got the emergency measures under GRAP, you've got financial aid for things like dust control, but the key thing to notice here is the shift towards smarter, data-driven planning. The idea is to use real-time data to monitor 62 specific hotspots and coordinate better with neighboring states to be more targeted and hopefully more effective.
And finally, let's pull back and look at the global stage, international relations. We're looking at a huge political realignment in the United States that has some really significant geopolitical implications.
Wow. I mean, this quote from Donald Trump, it just perfectly sums up the seismic shift that's happening. For decades, there was this solid bipartisan consensus in the U.S. on supporting Israel, but that is completely fractured. What used to be a politically untouchable position is now the subject of intense debate, and it's dividing both major parties from the inside out.
And look, this isn't just political talk. The numbers absolutely back it up. A recent Pew survey shows a dramatic swing in American public opinion. In just 3 years, the percentage of U.S. adults who have an unfavorable view of Israel has jumped from 42% all the way up to 53%. That's a massive change, and it's reshaping one of the most stable pillars of American foreign policy.
And that brings us to our big takeaway for the day. From state-centered disputes and new security threats to shifting global alliances, the world is just getting more and more complex. So the question for you to think about is this: how must India's own governance and its foreign policy adapt to navigate this new multipolar landscape? That's all for today's Explainer. Thanks for watching.